The Cleveland Browns have long been a franchise defined by fleeting hope and enduring heartbreak. A team where dreams arrive in flashes and often vanish just as quickly, leaving fans to cling to memories of what could have been. But the current saga surrounding Kevin Stefanski, Dillon Gabriel, and Shedeur Sanders is unlike anything this city has endured before. It is a story that combines raw failure, stubborn pride, and a glimmer of redemption that may never come to fruition. It is a story of human ego colliding with opportunity, and a franchise at a crossroads where one decision could alter its entire trajectory. It began on a cold Sunday afternoon, when fans packed the stadium with cautious optimism. Dillon Gabriel, the young quarterback once touted as a precision-engineered talent, was under the microscope. Every throw, every decision, every hesitation was analyzed under the harsh glare of expectation. Gabriel was not terrible, not in a traditional sense, but he was painfully unprepared. His timing was off, his reads were slow, and his accuracy, a trait once lauded, was now inconsistent and erratic. The ball floated over receivers, missed open targets, and turned what should have been routine completions into moments of collective frustration. Yet the narrative extends beyond Gabriel's struggles. On the sidelines sat Shedeur Sanders, quarterback whose potential is palpable to anyone who watches him move, whose presence is electric, whose talent could change the course of the season, and yet, week after week, he remained on the bench, observing, taking notes, waiting. The question was not whether Sanders could play. It was whether Stefanski had the humility to recognize that the solution to his team's struggles was sitting directly in front of him. Stefanski's refusal to play, Sanders became the central drama, a lens through which every misstep, every failed drive, and every loss was magnified. In his post-game press conferences, delivered measured responses that sounded polished, but revealed nothing, avoiding accountability and deflecting responsibility. Analysts and insiders began to speculate that this was no longer just stubbornness. It was personal. Stefanski's demeanor when speaking of Sanders was icy, dismissive, almost robotic. There was no curiosity, no competitiveness, just a rigid adherence to a plan that was failing in real time. As Gabriel continued to start, the Browns' performance unraveled. Special teams gave up touchdowns. The offense struggled to move the ball. A talented defensive roster could not compensate for the systemic dysfunction on offense. Cleveland was losing games, credibility, and morale simultaneously. The fans' anger was palpable because this situation felt eerily familiar. A franchise once again wasting talent because of pride and mismanagement. Gabriel himself bore the weight of these dynamics with professional poise. When asked if he felt the pressure of Sanders waiting in the wings, he gave a measured, respectful answer. He could only control what he could control. Yet, even in his professionalism, it was clear that he was not the answer the Browns needed. The organization, the players, and the fans could see it. Only one person seemed blind to reality: Stefanski. The narrative deepened with every snap. Each misfire was a reminder of opportunity squandered. Each hesitation exposed the tension between a coach clinging to ego and a franchise crying out for a new path. Analysts, former players, and commentators highlighted the stakes, with the season effectively lost. Why not evaluate Sanders and secure clarity for the future? Yet Stefanski's loyalty to Gabriel persisted, framing a narrative of a leader protecting his pride at the expense of progress. The drama was cinematic in its cruelty. It was the slow burn of frustration, the tightrope walk between hope and despair. The tension of watching talent wasted while a team's future remained uncertain. Every missed throw, every failed drive, every loss became a story of what-ifs and middle-bins. And beneath it all, the possibility of redemption shimmered. Sanders was talented, poised, and ready. The question was whether the franchise could reconcile its failures and give him the chance to transform its narrative. But this is not just a story of quarterbacks. It is a story of leadership, of ego, and of the human tendencies that shape organizational outcomes. Stefanski's insistence on sticking with Gabriel, despite mounting evidence of inadequacy, was not just a coaching decision. It was a human decision, fraught with pride, bias, and fear. It was a decision that reflected the complexities of authority, accountability, and trust. In football, as in life, the failure to recognize when to pivot can have cascading consequences. Cleveland's saga is a microcosm of this truth. The Browns are not losing because of bad luck alone. They are losing because of systemic failure to adapt. Stefanski's decisions echo through the locker room, shaping the behaviors and attitudes of players, influencing morale, and ultimately affecting performance on the field. It is a demonstration of how leadership, or the lack thereof, can define the trajectory of an entire organization. Yet, amid the chaos, the narrative is not devoid of hope. Sanders represents possibility, a beacon of what could be. He is a reminder that even in situations marred by ego and mismanagement, there remains a path forward if the organization is willing to embrace change. The redemption arc is clear if Stefanski sets aside pride. If the Browns recognize talent when it is before them, if they allow Sanders to play, the franchise could shift from a story of failure to one of reinvention. This duality, the drama of scandal and the allure of redemption, is what makes the Browns' current story compelling. It is the tension between what has gone wrong and what could go right. The clash between ego and opportunity, the narrative of a city and a franchise holding its breath, waiting for a decision that could define years to come. In this story, every game becomes a chapter, every decision a plot point, every moment on the sideline a character-defining scene. The Browns' season is no longer simply about wins and losses. It is about human choices, about courage, about humility, and about the consequences of failing to act when the moment demands it. Gabriel's struggles are tragic not just because of missed throws, but because they reveal the opportunity cost of inaction. Sanders' benching is poignant not because he cannot play, but because it reflects the tension between talent and recognition, readiness and access, potential and realization. As the season progresses, the stakes become more acute. Each remaining game is a chance to gather clarity, to evaluate talent, to understand the future of the franchise. Each loss is a reminder of what is at stake, not just for the team, but for the identity of the Browns and their place in the NFL hierarchy. The narrative is taut, the tension unrelenting, and the path to redemption narrow. And yet, the story remains incomplete. The final chapters have yet to be written, and the possibilities remain wide open. The Browns' future depends not on talent alone, but on the courage of leadership to embrace truth, to pivot when necessary, to give opportunity where it is due. The story of Stefanski, Gabriel, and Sanders is thus both a cautionary tale and a beacon of hope. It is a story of failure and redemption intertwined, a narrative that captures the very essence of sport and the human condition. Cleveland's saga will be remembered not for the throws that fell short or the drives that stalled, but for the choices that defined its course. It will be remembered for the tension between pride and possibility, for the lessons embedded in leadership under pressure, and for the narrative of a city and a team grappling with the weight of its own expectations. It is a story of resilience and consequence, of potential squandered and opportunity embraced, and of the delicate balance between ego and redemption. In the end, the Browns' story is far from over. The season may yet reveal heroes and failures, successes and mistakes, triumphs and regrets. Stefanski's decisions will continue to reverberate. Gabriel's journey will evolve, and Sanders' moment may yet arrive. The narrative is alive, pulsing with tension and awaiting resolution. And in that waiting lies the essence of why this story captivates, why it resonates, and why it matters. It is not simply football. It is human drama unfolding on the gridiron, with all the stakes, heartbreak, and potential that life itself can offer.